Hello everyone, welcome to BISP Solutions. I am Preeti, working as Oracle Fusion Functional Consultant. So in today's video, we will discuss how to integrate the project module with the AR module. For proceeding with the integration from the project module to AR module, we have to do the basic setups in the account receivable module in the application. These are the setups that we need to configure in the AR module. We will move to our application and we'll see how to configure these setup in the AR module. Go to setup and maintenance. In the setup area, you have to select here as financials. Under the financial, you have to select the receivable as a functional area. Go to manage receivable system options. You have to configure the receivable system option on the basis of your business unit. You can see here, this is the basic setup that required for AR module. You can configure this setup as per your business requirement. Here you have to provide the accounts. When you will pass the AR transaction, it will fetch the accounts from your system option. Right now, I'm not making any changes here. It is already configured. Click on done here and we will move to our next task, that is manage auto accounting rules. So what is manage auto accounting rules? Based on this setup, system will generate the auto entry of your invoice. Whenever you will create the invoice in your AR module, it will fetch the accounts from the auto accounting rules. What entry we should pass while creating the invoice of AR? It will be receivable account debit to revenue account. In the auto accounting rules, we will mention these accounts. And whenever you will create a invoice in the AR module, it will pick the account from the auto accounting rules. Go to the functional area, customer billing. You can see the task here, that is manage auto accounting rules. Search here with your business unit name. These are the account types for which you have to create the accounting rule. Go to add icon. It is already configured, but for the practice purpose and for understanding purpose, I am showing you how to create the auto counting rules. Click on add icon. And here you have to select the business unit. Here you have to select the account type. It is already defined, therefore system will not allow us to configure again. Let's try to take some other business unit. Now for practice purpose, we have taken another business unit. So we have taken the business unit here and we have taken the account type as auto invoice clearing. Now here you have to give the value source or the constant value. When you will select the value source here, say we are taking it as transaction type. When we are taking it as transaction type, so at the time of creation of invoice, system will fetch the accounts from the transaction types. While creating the transaction types, we have to mention some accounts there also, and system will fetch or pick the accounts from the transaction type. Now in the accounts, say we are taking it as constant value. In this case, what will happen? System will pick the account from this constant value. So you have two choices. You can select the transaction type or you can also mention the specific constant value. So in our case, we will take it as transaction type. You can see here for all the account type, auto accounting rule has been created. You can scroll little down and you can see. Let's go to auto invoice clearing. And you can see here for the line of business, we are using the transaction type. And for all the other segments, we are using the constant value. So whenever you will create the entry of invoice, it will pick the accounts from the options that you have selected here. In this way, you can create the auto accounting rules. Now I will show you how to create the transaction type and what are the accounts that we need to mention there so that system will be able to pick the accounts from the transaction type. Now click on cancel. We did not made any changes here. Click on all task here. And now you have to go to the task that is manage transaction type. Click on search here. These are the standard transaction type which are provided by the Oracle. Now say we are taking it as PA invoice, which is specifically created for project accounting invoice. Click on create edit icon. We have to give the basic details of the transaction type and then we have to give the business unit name here, or you can say we have to associate our business unit here. So this is the name of your transaction type. Give the transaction status here. Give the start date of this transaction type. Then whether you want to generate the bill, yes or no. Now you can see here, these are the accounts that you have to mention here. If you are not taking the constant value in the auto accounting rules and you are taking it as a transaction type, then system will pick the accounts from the accounts that you have mentioned in the transaction type. You can see the accounts that is revenue, receivable, tax, freight, unearned revenue, unbilled receivable, auto invoice clearing. After giving the accounts, you have to associate your business unit here. For associating your business unit with any of the transaction type, you have to click on this add icon. Mention the business unit name, and then you have to give the accounts here. So while creating the transaction type, you have to associate your business unit. You have to give the accounts detail here. In this way, we can create the transaction type. Now, what is the use of transaction type? We have to associate this transaction type while creating the transaction source. Now, we will move to our next task, that is manage transaction source. Click on blind search, and now then you will be able to see the standard transaction sources provided by the Oracle. So this is a transaction source which is created specifically for project purpose. Click on it. So these are the information that you have to fill here. And also in the standard transaction type, you have to associate your transaction type in the transaction source. So this is the task, that is transaction source, and here you have to associate your transaction type. This is not a mandatory field, but when you will create the invoice with this transaction source and you didn't mention any transaction type here, then system will throw the error. So it is required to associate your transaction type in the transaction source. Rest of the details you can fill out as per your requirement. Click on save and close. Then click on done. Now move to our next task, that is remit to address. For creating the customer, you have to associate your one of the address with the customer. So for that, you have to create the address with this task, that is manage remit to address. Now click on this add icon. Now click on done. In the AR module, you have to create customer. This is a mandatory setup. Without customer, you won't be able to create the AR invoice. For that, you have to create the reference data set. While creating the customer, you won't be able to use the standard reference data set. Therefore, we have to create specific reference data set for customer purpose, and we have to assign the same at the business function level. Now move to our application to see how to create the reference data set. Go to all tasks. Now click on manage reference data set. Here you have to click on create icon for creating the new reference data set. For creating the customer, system restrict us to use the standard reference data set. For that purpose, we have to create the specific reference data set, and we have to assign the same at business unit function level. Click on save and close. Now go to functional area, organization structures. Click on assign business unit, business function. Go to business unit, set assignment. Now here you have to assign the reference data set that you have created now. In the customer account site also you have to provide the same. Now click on save and close. Go to functional area as customers, and here you will get the task that is create customer. Click on create customer. Provide the name of your customer here. Here you have to associate your reference data set. System has taken the from date by default as today's date. Now click on this add icon. Now we have to select the purpose for this address, whether it will be used for bill to purpose or ship to purpose or for both purpose. I'm selecting this address for both the purpose. I want to use the bill to as primary. So go to actions and click on set primary. So in this way, we can create the customer. So this is the customer that we have created now. In this way, you can create the customer. So we have done all the basic setups that are required in the AR module. Now, in the next sessions, we will see what are the other setups that we are required to configure, and we can go ahead with the integration from the project module to AR module. Thank you so much for watching today's session.